Now, what can we do to prevent, mitigate, and adapt to a changing climate? Well, the first option is prevention, and these are tactics that are designed to reduce a potential threat. Some examples of this are the Kyoto Treaty, so this would be reductions in CO2 emissions by some 140 or so of the most wealthiest nations. The United States is entered in with a couple other countries, namely Australia, and for real, it's Australia this time, India, Japan, China, and South Korea, on a plan to develop more clean energy resources. So that's another option. And both of these are dealing with what's causing the threat, the greenhouse gases and the enhanced warming in the atmosphere. Another thing that you can do is mitigation. This is the attempt to decrease the risk associated with the threat, rather than decreasing the threat itself. So here we're focusing on the risk. So example would be seawalls. Instead of dealing with why the sea level's rising, you could build seawalls to protect your city. Or create hybrid crops that are more drought resistant. Or in areas that have a lot of heat waves, you could give air conditioning units to people that might be affected. This is often much more expensive in the long run than getting at the root of the problem. Imagine giving air conditioning units to everyone, everywhere. Lastly, we can just adapt. We can live with the threat and whatever consequences happen because of it. This would be following a business as usual approach. So basically not changing anything and just dealing with what happens. On the upside, the preparation cost of this is nothing. So it's cheap up front, but having to deal with the cost of things afterwards when you're dealing with the consequences can be very, very costly, like moving the population when sea level rises. Or how do you even figure out what is the cost of losing an entire species because there's no more sea ice? Think back to the 2003 heat wave in France. What is the cost of lives in the mortality rates because of that heat wave? We need to collectively, as a global population, decide which one of these options we can afford to do now and which one we maybe can't afford to let happen later.